Used to be the Ice Cube.
You said no, it's cool.
do it? No. Okay, we call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer, Councilmember Sandu,
Here.
Councilmember Campion, Councilmember Lozano,
Here.
Mayor Lamson.
Here. Councilmember Farmer's going to be late, and he gave me permission to say that his dad had surgery today, so he is on his way from the hospital. And also, want to thank everybody for being patient and coming out at 3 o'clock. We have National Night Out tonight, and the council supports that event and believes it's very important, and so we moved the council meeting to 3 o'clock. And while we have our moment of silence, if everyone could please remember all the shooting victims we've had lately. Okay, please rise. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, are there any agenda approvals and/or deletions? Oh, replay statement, sorry.
This meeting of the Galt City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems. The meeting is closed caption and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will air Friday, August 9th at 9 a.m. and Saturday, August 10th at 9 a.m. The City Council meeting videos are also archived on the city's website, and a DVD copy is available for checkout from any library branch.
Thank you, Ms. Settles. All right, are there any agenda approval additions or deletions?
I would like to pull that item F2, just for the information.
F2, okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
And I'd like to pull item F4.
Okay. On to presentations. We have the Galt Market National Farmers Market Week, Parks and Recreation Department.
Like to, Mayor and City Council, I'd like to call up Jackie Garcia, our Special Events Manager.
Good afternoon, Jackie.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Today I'm excited to share with you, the market is celebrating National Farmers Market Week at the market, but we're really celebrating tomorrow, Wednesday, August 7th. What we're hoping to do is bring recognition to our produce vendors, which is a large array of our market that provides fruits, vegetables, wholesale, and homegrown vegetables. So what we're doing tomorrow, and we're encouraging the community to come out, is in the morning we have a salsa demonstration at 7 a.m. with Good Day Sacramento coming out featuring a live segment twice on the air of our market and the salsa demonstration. One of our produce vendors is going to be providing that, and everything that is made will be from our produce vendors, which is highlighting what our produce has to offer. Following that, we have some of the summer camp kids coming over to enjoy some arts and crafts, as well as watermelon contest. We have our staff versus vendors. They will be competing for the contest as well. So we're encouraging that, encouraging healthy eating, recognizing what the market has to offer to the community and the benefits. So I ask and encourage you guys to come out and visit our market vendors. And then I also have a produce vendor here that would like to be included in the presentation just to encourage you guys as well and promote what she has as well.
Hello, how are you guys? I am one of the loyal vendors there at Galt Farmers Market. I help my parents sell their homegrown goods here in Harold. They grow them there, so we encourage you guys to come and see what we have there. And I'm in space B14, B15 if you would like to come and say hello and see what we sell. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you sell?
Okay, so we personally, my parents grow what is tomatillo, cilantro. We grow squash blossoms. I'm gonna try to help them grow other goods, homegrown goods. I also help other local farmers bring in their items into the Galt Market. So I have people coming in, bringing in cactus, nopales, that they grow at their house. I also have other farmers bring in cilantro that they grow at their house, and other items, other local farmers that I encourage to come and bring their stuff. And I help them sell it as well for them.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
And if I can just add,
Sure.
Mayor, it was an oversight on my part that I didn't invite all the council members. I want to invite you guys all out tomorrow morning. Good Day Sacramento will be there at 7:30. Festivities will start, as you see here. If you'd like to come out, I'd appreciate it, but I apologize for the oversight on my part.
How long does the activity last? Let's see, what does it say?
So all the way till about 11:30? Sorry. Yeah.
And there's some watermelon eating contests, I've heard.
Yeah, so the Good Day Sacramento will be there from 7 to about 8:15, and then Mega 100 will get there at 9:30, and we'll be there from 9:30 to 11:30. So that's the window of the watermelon contest, eating contest.
Great, thank you. All right, next up, we have the Sacramento Municipality Utility District, SMUD Park Upgrade, and that is also the Parks and Recreation Department.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Today, we'll be speaking about SMUD Park. We were contacted by the SMUD organization regarding SMUD Park that is located on the corner of A Street and Lincoln. They've notified us that they have 2 transformers here in this area. One of them needs to be replaced. It's over 40 years old. In order to do that, they're going to need to expand into an area further out this way. Whoops, excuse me. So you're looking at approximately this area that they'd be taking over. I know that there's been some dramatic changes over the last year to SMUD Park, and there looks like there's going to be more. This is something that we're going to have to do to ensure electricity is provided to our customers. Again, there's new regulations in place where they would have to separate these 2 transformers, and they'll be relocating it out this way. We met, Community Development Director and I met with SMUD to discuss some options to redo the park, more drought-tolerant plants, trees, and this is the initial design that they had come up with. They had getting rid of all the grass, drought-tolerant planting, some seeding here, but there were some issues with that in our discussions. What they're going to need to do to accomplish this, last year we took out these oak trees here, redwood trees. There's issues with these crepe myrtles, and this tree here will need to go. As you can see, it's in the line of the fenced area. We'll be removing these trees here in circles, so completely taking away all the trees that we currently have there. In further discussions with SMUD, the seating here along the fence line was not optimal just because of the proximity to the wall. We asked that they put tables here and here. In later discussions, I'll bring that up. These are the modifications that they came up with. We've agreed that they'll put some seating areas here for us to put benches in at a later time. We'll also be bringing back a updated lease agreement. We currently lease that property from SMUD for the attorney to review and for you to vote on. And then I think I hit everything, but let me just check my notes. I also have a SMUD representative here that would like to discuss some of this. Bring him up.
Is that Mr. Dice?
Yes. Sorry, there you go.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. We are at a time period in this substation's life where we need to replace the older equipment. We try to do that before the equipment actually fails, and we want to make sure that we have a continued electric supply in the Galt, the city of Galt. To do that, we also need to keep the 2 transformers in service while we're making modifications to add the new transformer, and then we'll remove the existing transformer. We are committed to upgrading this area because we know it's part of Central Galt. In addition to the landscape, you see today, we currently have a chain link fence with a security topping on it. We'll be upgrading that to a 10-foot precast concrete wall. So we'll end up with, I think, a better look and feel of the property, along with this drought-tolerant design. I think at the end of the day, we're going to be very pleased with the outcome there. And because we are part of this community, it's important for us at the end of the day that this substation represent the community and what its desires are. So as the director mentioned, we will be making accommodations to put in some picnic table areas for the future so that people can enjoy this area and the new landscape that's involved. Some of the trees that are planned there, we will be replacing the redwood trees and the crepe myrtle with additional crepe myrtle and some other tree species that are drought tolerant, like the Palo Verde, which is a beautiful tree. And some of the other plantings you see there are going to be really quite stunning when it's all mature and completed. This landscape was actually developed in a partnership with American River College horticultural class. We gave them opportunities, real-world opportunities for our substations to develop drought-tolerant designs and also to preserve our security plan so that we wouldn't have places where people could hide or go behind and like trees and bushes and so forth. This is one of the prize winners from the American River College horticultural class. So we're very pleased to go to this higher level of effort and bring this substation in with improving reliability and overall appearance and contribution to the city.
Mr. Dice, can you tell me how old the transformers are now?
The one transformer is about 40 years old, and I would say the other transformer is probably a little younger than that. We typically put them in stages depending on how the load picks up. 40-year-old transformer is not that old. We have some that are about 50 or 60 years old. What we do is we test our transformers fairly regular to determine if they're in a degrading health state. We call it an asset health index. So this particular transformer is one of the transformers that we feel that it's starting to decline in health, and that's why we've put it into our budget a year in advance to go ahead and make that change out. And then the other transformer will be planned for removal probably in about 5 years or so into the future. We'll monitor its condition and determine when it should be replaced.
I have to say I'm very pleased with the planning. I was out on a fire this week on some PG&E put down power lines out on Clay Station, and those were 80-year-old high power lines. So the infrastructure is starting to go. So I'm really excited that you guys are looking ahead and replacing things before they start to fail. Very good planning. And are you guys paying for this?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are. The agreement that we have planned and drafted with the city would be, we would do the wall installation, the landscaping installation, and then the ongoing maintenance would be by the city under agreement. The water, the reduced, should be a reduced usage of water since the turf is going away, would also be provided by the city.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
I just have a couple of quick questions. I appreciate, or comment first, I appreciate the fact that we're looking at drought-tolerant landscaping to reduce costs of maintenance over time. Appreciate that. I think I may have missed the rationale for removing the trees. Is it operational or?
It's a combination. What we're finding is the coastal redwoods are being challenged by the weather conditions we have, including the beetle attacks. It's been quite a challenge for us throughout our substation area. We operate about 275 substations. So it's becoming more of a commonality to see those go away and be replaced. The other challenge here is, as you can see from the layout, that they're in conflict with the additional increased size of the substation. And then finally, if one of those trees were to fall into the substation, that would be something that would be something we wouldn't want to occur. So what we're hoping to do here is recognize that these trees have kind of reached the end of their useful life and be replaced with drought-tolerant trees that provide color and reduced maintenance responsibility or requirements.
And you're referring also to the crepe myrtles on the corner there, the three?
Correct.
When you talk, okay. And so has the health of the trees been inspected? I mean, do we have beetles
They're
in the
gone.
redwoods?
The redwoods are gone.
SMUD has brought out their arborists for the crepe myrtles, and they are in poor health, and they will be replacing them just whole.
Okay,
Yeah, there are issues with the crepe myrtles.
okay. I appreciate
That's one
it.
of the reasons why, even though they're out of the sphere of the fencing, they're going to be replacing them for us.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
So just to clarify, we don't currently have a beetle problem with these trees, but we found that with the changes in climate around our area, we have been having issues with the beetle. It hasn't happened yet, but it seems to be more of a problem as we've gone along in time. And we see this as a perfect opportunity to kind of just provide a whole complete facelift, then to come in, landscape this with the coastal redwoods, and then potentially have to remove the coastal redwoods in 5 years or so because either they're ill or they present a challenge of falling into our substation. So this is an opportunity to kind of do it right and get a really upgraded landscape that's been well designed and well put together.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the presentation. My question is, there will be no cost to the city when you going to replace that transformer, but there is some cost after the fact. Can you a little bit detail on what kind of cost will be and?
It would actually be a reduced cost to what we're paying now, as that we would not be watering as much. There's not any grass to be mowed, so there will be a reduction in the cost for that, so which is also a win for the city at this point. And then something that we did not bring up is that if we get the lease agreement signed, we'll start construction in September. It'll go through June, and some of the trees will be planted after summer once the heat's died down. So
Thank you.
it'll be a big construction zone for quite a while.
What will be the impact of that construction area? Will there be any street blockages around the area, or?
To my knowledge, they will just be doing all the construction. They'll be putting everything in this area here, and then working from that site there. They'll fence off the park area and then work within the park. There should not be any street closures.
Thanks.
Good news, thank you. Anything else? Okay,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you. All right, next up, Public Safety Committee Annual Report. Police Department, it looks like we have Lieutenant Kalinowski coming forward. Would you like to bring any other committee members forward?
I asked, and they said I would just like to be pointed out. So during my presentation, I will highlight Randy, who's sitting in the back. So in the spirit of, there's Randy. So in the spirit of National Night Out, we thought it would be important to put the Public Safety Committee meeting on at the same day, sort of kill two birds with one stone. So I'm here to present the 2018-2019 Public Safety Committee Annual Report to the members of the council. Currently, our chair is Councilmember Sandu, and our vice chair is the godfather of Public Safety Committee, Randy Shelton, who's been on the committee, I think, the entire time, correct? Yes. Okay, we have 7 voting members, which include 2 city council members and 5 residents of the city. Each council member appoints 1 committee member. Your current committee members are Mayor Lamson, Councilmember Sandu, and from the public, you have Darren Mitchell, Chris Schnabner, I'm saying that properly, Teresa McCord, Randy Shelton, and Richard Tellier. During the last, well, let me talk about a little purpose and function. The purpose of the Public Safety Committee is to act as an advisory committee to the City Council, evaluate public safety issues, and bring issues forward to the council. During this last year, you heard issues related to the 4th Street corridor and traffic concerns. I believe you heard that in November, December, and made some decisions related to that. During this last year, we met 6 times. Each of the meetings were well attended by our committee members, and the attendance sheet is the last page in your report. However, more often than not, we were talking about traffic-related issues. Again, I refer to the 4th and C Street traffic issues. We had 2 presentations, a formal workshop on the Carilion Boulevard plans and the master plan workshop, and then a follow-up update to that, and I believe council has been involved in that also. We've had issues and concerns about new development like Starbucks and some impacts related to that. And Public Works has been very helpful in addressing issues related to things like trees and bushes being cut to help with traffic flow and visibility. And Mark Clarkson's been a big help in, related to that. We meet every other Monday at 6 p.m. Not every other Monday. Geez, that'd be a lot. You'd be tired of me, huh? Every other month, 6 times a year, Public Safety Committee meets in July, September, November, January, March, and May. And it's the 4th Monday at 6 p.m. in the community room of the police department. We encourage members of the public to attend if they're interested. The agenda is posted online on the city website. And our contact person for the police department is Dana Wilkerson. And you can reach her at 366-7000. And I'm available, or committee members are available to answer any questions of the public or council if you have any.
I'll start off. Thanks again, Brian, for your work on the safety. I was there a short time, as you know, and thank you, Randy Shelton, as well, for all your long tenure on there. You know, in light of things that have happened lately, it's kind of making me think a little more about what's going on, you know, with we had the Gilroy and the El Paso and then the Ohio thing. It's just becoming more prevalent. So I think things like the safety committee, I think, are just such an important tool. I think they've been underutilized in the past, and I'm not saying that you guys are underutilized now, but I can see a progression of the committee being utilized more often and in different ways. I think I would like to see the subject of, I noticed in April of 2018 was the last time there was a discussion about special events like planning for like a, you know, if something happened in a big event or something. I saw that's the last time it was. So I would like to see that revisited as soon as possible.
Okay.
And I think the council as a whole should maybe be bringing that up in a future agenda, because I think it's important that we not only have very solid plans in place of if something like that would happen at one of our events, but also to, you know, the school districts. I know that you guys do some training where your officers go to another school at another city, right? And do
Yeah,
like a,
recently we were in Rancho Cordova.
type
Right,
thing?
correct.
So I would like to, now just curious, why don't we do that on our schools though, so they're familiar with our campus?
So we fall, well, it's because these exercises are so large and so labor intensive. We follow the program to different places in the county that they go. This year it happened to be in Rancho Cordova. My understanding is they want to pick a place in southern Sacramento County, either in the Elk Grove area or further south this next year, and that hasn't been decided. But we're such a small organization that we sort of joined the existing training program that's in place, and so that's why we were in Rancho with our 2 SROs this last year.
I personally would like to see, and maybe this is already happening, so excuse me if it hasn't, but, you know, a lot of communication, maybe through CAST or something, where because of, and again, in light of what's been going on lately, if we can really get on the same page with the school district, where if something happens at the school, you know, it's not just a regular 911 call, but there's some special, you know, everybody's, you know, got a plan in place, because it's, as you know, plan for the worst and hope for the best. So I really just would hate for something to happen in our community at some point and we just be like, missed an opportunity to really be in front of it.
So we will put
If you
something
don't mind,
in.
I'm going to interject here. For a
Oh, I'm
minute.
sorry. Chief?
As far as the special events goes, there is a planning session that takes place before every single special event in our city. We reach out to make sure there's no known threats for the specific event through Homeland Security, and we make sure that we're adequately staffed and everything for the different events. And in the event that it goes bad, there's a pre-brief and a debrief about everything that does and doesn't happen at the event. So a lot of stuff that you mentioned happens at every single event prior to. And then as far as the schools go, staff has been working extremely hard with the schools. When we took over and annexed the area for Liberty Ranch, The waiting list was about 2 years to have a threat assessment done on the schools. Through relationships and everything, we were able to get them in immediately to do the threat assessment. So there was one done at Liberty Ranch. There was already one done at Galt High some years back. And we also do crime prevention through environmental design assessments of all the schools. So I think that a lot of what you're addressing, and then we've been working with them on their camera systems and stuff to try to gain access. And the issue is trying to make sure that there's real-time viewing of those cameras and stuff. And that's being worked out with both the school districts. So there's a lot of work that's being done in light of what's going on in our country about the shootings and everything else. So staff's been doing an excellent job of making sure that there's constant communication with the schools to make sure that we are able to respond to any emergencies, and with training with their staffs and going to their staff meetings and talking about the threats and everything else during the school year and before the school year. And when they have their preschool prior to the school year starting with all of their staff out there, and there's a threat briefing that's given with them too. So
Okay.
all that stuff is taking place already to make sure that our community's safe.
I didn't notice our superintendent here. Sorry, Bill. Thank you for being here. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. And then the last thing too is just, I noticed one of the purposes of the safety committee, I was reading its thing, and it was saying how, the purpose is to evaluate public safety issues within the community brought forward by the council staff and residents. And I know when I was on the committee that a lot of things were brought forward by residents, and I know I look at the safety committee as kind of a filtering mechanism where we just filter through and say, okay, we got these 20 things, 10 of them maybe not that serious, and we kind of address. But I think once you filter through a lot of the things, there is some things that I felt that should have been brought to council. It says to make recommendations to city council. We very rarely see that, hardly ever. I would like to see more of that, just because I feel like that some of that stuff, people, you guys are kind of a buffer between us, the residents and the council, but I just think that I think to be utilizing that committee to its full potential, I think we should, some issues should be getting through a little, at least be brought forward, maybe just in public comment. Hey, I'm here on behalf of the public safety and we have an issue that we've been discussing, just to kind of bring the conversation forward. I would like to see that personally, so.
Okay, and we can certainly do that. And I know that Randy Shelton expressed some desire to look at the way the Public Safety Committee can do some work a little differently and refocus. And then I think lastly, as the chief talked about, there's a lot of work that's gone on, and over the decades we've said law enforcement does not do a good job about tooting their own horn or telling their own story, or social media has helped in some of that stuff. But certainly the work that we're doing, we will work with the Public Safety Committee and bring some presentations forward and talk about some work we've done. Part of the Rancho exercise we did, I was on site to evaluate how we could do a modified training locally, not a full scale where all resources are brought to Galt for that, but so our staff is familiar with expectations and site-specific issues and address those. So we will continue to work on that. And talking with Elk Grove, they were looking at something early next summer, but it would probably be the springtime. Some of the things we need to do, work around the known fire seasons and other things where fire crews are pulled off-site, so provides less flexibility for them to participate. But we'll continue to evaluate that and see when we can do that in conjunction with one of our training days. So we continue to refine that. We thought it was important for our SROs to go because they're in the schools every day. It was a school site-specific location, and that was helpful and built some relationships. So we will continue to do that, and I'll work with the chief to make that happen. And obviously through the chair and the vice chair of the Public Safety Committee, we'll do that.
All right, thank you, Brian, and thanks, Chief. Thanks.
Thank you. And we did do an active shooter drill at Galt High. I don't remember if you were here then.
No, it's been since, it was before me, so
With
it had to be
actors
7
and
years ago.
everything, and- Yeah, and it was really good for the officers to run through campus and get the feel of the campus and all that, so.
And then, you see a lot of agencies starting to do that now, obviously, because of the national threat that we face with these whacks, so.
Yeah. Thank you so
all right.
much.
Any other? We're good?
Any other?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Hello.
Thank you for the presentation. And I also like to thank you for all the safety committee members give me the opportunity to as a chair. But I am certainly concerned with Deshaun. Since I am the chair, we will discuss, and I always discuss everything. If we feel anything we need to bring to the council, certainly I'm not hesitate to. But the only thing I see last couple meeting is not that much public involvement. So I like to ask the public if any feedback, anything you want to come to the meeting and discuss with us. Thank you.
Yeah, and one thing I don't want to cut off a council
I
member.
just
Go
wanted
ahead,
to
sir.
piggyback a little. Sorry. Yeah, I've gotten some feedback from my appointee and a couple other ones, and I do feel like sometimes there are some things they bring forward that I think are very important, and for lack of a better word, not being shut down, but being like, oh, that's a great idea. Okay, thanks, and then that's just the end of it. And I think that a lot of times things get stonewalled a little bit, and I'll be honest, I saw that a little bit when I was there. So I just want to make sure that we, take everything serious and not just be like, okay, great, all right, meeting adjourned and we're done. And I mean, things need to progress and maybe come back for more discussion or go to the next level. So, but basically, I appreciate your time on there too, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will work on that. And I think another thing we can do, I'm going to go off script, the chief will love me for this, but if we can't get the public to us, there are strategies that we can do to sort of get to the public through maybe a Facebook Live or something like that where people can tune in and actually watch it or see what it's all about and whether or not it gives them the opportunity to make the additional effort to show up in person. So we'll strategize on some of those this next year.
Good ideas.
Yeah, okay.
Great idea.
You're welcome, chief. Yeah, I did. Thank you.
Thank you, Safety Committee and Safety Committee members. All right, public comment?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the city council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for the city council to receive comments. Except for brief responses to questions, no discussion or action may be taken on any item that's not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Speaker cards are located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers. Once completed, forward the speaker card to the clerk. Those persons wishing to speak on any items scheduled on the agenda will be given an opportunity to do so at the time that item is being considered.
Thank you very much. All right, first up, we're going to have Antoinette Dubois on the seniors and retirees. Then after that will be Steve Lissick, and after that will be Superintendent William Spalding.
Good afternoon, I'm Antoinette, and I've been a Galt resident for about 5 years now. And I have two issues. The first one I'd like to speak about is regarding safety. And I'd like to let you know about the problem at the corner of East Stockton Boulevard and Walnut. It is very dark there, and I feel it's a real danger to folks coming up. I have to come that way when I'm going home. And when you're coming from Sacramento, driving north down the frontage road, when you come to Walnut and East Stockton Boulevard, and you're turning left, you cannot see the lane division when you're turning until you're right into the turn going down the street. Consequently, I make a wide turn so I ensure I don't go into the other lane, which is traffic coming from the opposite direction. And it's been that way for a while. I did, when I initially moved here, I did mention it to the mayor because I was at one of the strawberry festivals that we had here. But over the years, I've seen nothing's been done about it, but it's really scary at that corner, and I feel it's a big safety hazard. And the second issue I'd like to talk about has to do with I feel, the escalating City of Galt bills that are coming through. I'm a senior, and I'm a retiree, and being here 5 years, my pension, my Social Security together has not escalated over between $90 and $100, which my bill has gone up that much since I've been here. So I was hoping there can be some consideration given to seniors and retirees. And I'm not speaking of low income per se, but retirees and seniors are on fixed incomes. And I certainly don't want to be priced out of my residential area just because of the escalating costs with the bills that are coming from the City of Galt. And that's it. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I hope something can be done about both of those issues. I really don't know, other than speaking to you, how to go about it further, but I'd be willing to help or be on a committee to see what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoinette. Are you okay if I give your email to the Public Works Director so he can get back to you on that? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Steve, is it Lissick?
John? Yeah, my name is Steve Lissick. I live on Coldbrook Way over in the northeast area there. In fact, I was the first resident in the Elliott Homes over there. Coldbrook Way used to end at my lot line, and it was nothing but open fields to Marengo Road. And so I've seen this city develop for 30 years now. And I've always been proud of the decisions that were made and the efforts that were done to develop the city. I mean, I've always been really proud of it. But for the last year or so, I've seen it go down the tubes and going to hell. And I mean, especially like Carillion and the park over there and the other parks, there's no water on. I mean, what's the reason behind that? So the grass won't grow, so you don't have to pay the landscaper to cut it? Or what? I mean, it's crazy. You're losing one of the best assets the city has. You know, we're trying to attract more residents here. We're trying to attract more businesses to build the tax base up. And we're taking a negative step towards that. You know, I understand that the last city manager was shouldn't have been hired to begin with, and the crew that he had with him. And I was glad to see that go. And the results of the last election should say a lot about the way the community feels about the way the city's been ran. And but it hasn't always been that way. I mean, this is just the last couple of years have been really terrible. I know Sean's seen it too. Seen it go down the tubes. And and now I hear that, yeah, I've seen the Carillion plan. That's crazy, spending more money when we can't even afford to turn the water on or have the parks landscaped. Just put up a couple more stop signs at different places along there. We don't need to go through and do a big development on roundabouts or converting it down to a bike lane or whatever. You know, we're planning on development. We're going to need those 4 lanes. And I see now something about talking about the Galt market and that area being sold for development. I mean, and now I see that there's kind of like a closed-door meeting with the developers, and it's all kind of been a closed-door thing on negotiations about how much money's going to get out of it. I mean, that's nutty. Are we going to sell something that's a long-term benefit to the city for a little short-term gain to get us out of some little financial crisis we're in and we got put into by the last city manager here? And, or what? What's going on with this city? You know, it's crazy. You know, I'd just like to see some kind of responsible thought put into it. And people, you know, if you don't have the time to serve on the city council and do the job properly, don't run for office. I mean, let somebody else in there. You know, let somebody else that'll do the job and do the proper research that's needed for these projects. Put proper thought into it. Hire the right people. You'll spend some time, it appears now that for the city manager, and I appreciate Tom here, but I understand he's temporary, and that to you know, spend some time researching it rather than just get people in here that want to put something on their resume to move on. Get somebody that's got to buy into the city. The last guy lived in Lake Tahoe and was commuting down here. I mean, who hired that guy? You know, that's pure craziness. Let's put some responsible government back in this city and some responsible thought back into it. Before we develop more, let's take care of what we have. You know, we're losing it. We're losing it. I mean, Carillion Way looks like hell. You know, and I haven't been around too much of the other city, but I'm sure the other parks look pretty bad too. You know, you got that beautiful asset, that park there, the lawn's dying, the plants are dying, the weeds are going crazy. That's the only thing that's growing because it doesn't need water. And let's do something about that. I mean, there's got to be other things that could be done. We own the water.
Sir, you'll need to wrap it up.
Okay, we own the water. Let's use our water. Anyways, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, we have Superintendent William Spalding of the Galt Joint Union High School District. Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor Lamson, members of the city council, members of the city staff. Thank you for the opportunity to speak for a few minutes. I just want to come by and I wanted to personally invite you to the grand reopening of the Galt High School Stadium and the dedication of the Irv Hatzenbuehler Field. It is still the Irv Hatzenbuehler Field. We will have a sign that will show that. That will be on August 23rd, 2019 at 6:15 p.m. A number of you have already come to the ribbon cutting. You remember this from June. We picked the hottest day of the summer. And I think, judging from today, we may have another hot day. But this will be the first time we actually are able to play football. That'll be our opening game for Galt High School against Woodland Christian. So there'll be the opportunity for the kids to come out, the football team, the cheerleaders, everybody come out and see this beautiful new field and actually see it in use and see Galt Warriors march on to victory that night. At least that's what we're telling the kids they better do. So anyways, want to thank you for that. And just one comment I wanted to share, just kind of hearing the conversation here, is I just want to extend my appreciation to the council, the city staff. I've been in Chris's office a few times, met with Chief Sockman a few times. One of the things that I've learned just in the year that I've been here is that Galt works, and Galt works because there's such good partnerships and good relationships and good outreach. And I've certainly have felt that here in my first year as a superintendent of the high school district. And we've just had a lot of opportunities to work collaboratively on things. And this is one. Many of you were at the ribbon cutting and have been major proponents of the school districts, Measure E, Measure K. I really appreciate that. An example, Mr. Farmer had a great question tonight about, the safety and security of the campuses. We've been working very closely with Chief Sockman and staff, and as a matter of fact, right now, one of the police department's SROs is with a group of some of my leadership and some of my leadership staff and teacher staff at ALICE training in Berkeley, the first West Coast ALICE training in quite some time. And ALICE is basically it's an acronym, don't ask me what it stands for, but it is one of the most widely used methodologies for school safety and how you respond in a situation where, unfortunately, hopefully doesn't happen, but how you would respond to an active shooter situation. So we're working very cooperatively and collaboratively with our law enforcement partners. They will be bringing back information to us. It's actually a train-the-trainer model, so we've already put our entire staff through the online training, and then we'll soon be taking up the physical training that becomes part of that, and then submitting our plans to the Alice Institute, where they review those, and before they put their stamp of approval on it, they want to see that it's really, that it's really up to snuff. Sad we have to be thinking about these things. It just very, very sad, but we want to be, prepared, for the worst. Hopefully, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I think we're doing that, and again, a lot of it has to do with the partnerships here and what we've been able to do together. So just want to thank you and hope you can be there.
Thank you. Is there a JV game that night?
Yes.
Okay, so this is in between the JV
Yes,
and varsity?
yes,
Okay,
between the game.
thank you. And then I Googled real fast. ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate.
Evacuate. That's it. That's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Spalding. We look forward to being there. Okay. Reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. Oh. You have to fill out a speaker form? No. Or you don't? Okay. Oh, you did you?
Yeah, Yeah, just bring one up.
You don't have to, you can just come up.
Thanks, Paige. My name's Rod Pryden, and I live on the corner of Dare and Firmway. And the issue that we have going there, ever since Walmart's been built there, that we have semis going through. They get off at Walnut and they exit through Adair Way. And then when they come out of Walmart, they want to come back this way. What would it take to get signs put in there, no trucks? Because every time I stop truck drivers, they say either there's no signs and the GPS brung us this way. So, and I called the police officers and they said that I had to come here to get any kind of results. I know back in the olden days, I could have went and talked to the police chief and he would have resolved the problem for me without coming here. But anyway, it's every day we have semis going through there. And we got enough traffic cutting through there already.
Can we get your information and we can look into this?
Mike or Chris, is that a truck route? I know the street he's talking about.
No, definitely not. And we're working with Walmart currently on other issues with trucks, mostly on site. I mean, this is something I can certainly talk to them about to educate their delivery drivers. And then Mike and I can, Mr. Selling and I can strategize on how to work with the truck route. But it is not an identified truck
I
route.
didn't think so. Okay, thank you.
And they should not be going that direction.
You know, especially all the class 1 truck driver license, they have the responsibility.
You know where I live,
They know
right?
they don't
Okay,
go
and their
to the
semis
residence
go
route.
through there and I stop them all the time. You know, and so if we can just get some signs made up on the outside by the frontage road and the inside by Walmart right there. Where the crosswalk signs are, there should be some signs right there and right there, East Stock Devoir. Phone number?
Yeah, thank you for bringing this to our attention. I actually didn't know this was going on.
Yeah. What's that?
It's not fair to talk from, the public can't hear you. If you want to talk, you have to come to the microphone, Mr. Davenport. You're welcome. Are you coming? Sure. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, that's what I got. And every time you talk to the police or whatever, they always say I have to come here, okay? And as far as your police department, you do good, because your cops are on it. No matter where you're at or whatever, they're there. And every time I've called them, they're there. So that's a good thing.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'm Gene Davenport. I was on the planning commission when the Walmart thing was approved. Went through a lot of stuff. Go ahead. Yeah, we have a history. But that was part of the agreement, and I think that's just something that fell through because they were supposed to have signs posted that it would not be a truck route. They were not allowed to go through that at all. So I think it's just a matter of catching up and whatnot. While I'm here and I've got 4 minutes left, I might as well, use it. I just happen to have that time. I want to talk about I know a lot of people have been complaining about the landscape in the city, and I understand the issues and whatnot, and it's a new company, but, it's kind of a rock and a hard place, and a lot of people don't want to understand. If they're only going to mow once a month, it's like today they were out there with weed eaters. They're not even using lawnmowers in a lot of the places, and that's really not good. But the watering issue is really bad. You need to have somebody fix those, or get on that, if nothing else, because it's dying for no reason. So something's just wrong with that. So that's basically all I have to say. I wish I could think of something else and have 3 minutes. It's the kind of guy I am. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Gene.
Thanks, Mr. Davenport. As you see those issues, if you could report them on the Galt Connect app, because we are finding we're having some issues with broken and vandalized sprinklers and things that we didn't know about. So if you guys could report them on the Galt app, that would be, or contact the parks.
Can I use Gene's last 3 minutes? This isn't a
No,
complaint,
the attorney says no.
It's just an informative statement.
The attorney,
Upcoming event is sitting here. It'll just take a
hold on one second.
It won't even take 3 minutes.
What do you think?
You know,
If you,
Hold on one second.
you could certainly allow additional public comment, but if you allow one person the opportunity to come back, then everybody else will get another shot. So it's up to the mayor.
Well, I think we're here to listen to the public, so if the public wants to speak, we should.
yeah, this is just a short statement. I'm on the Lincoln Highway Association, I'm a member of it. Lincoln Highway, as it goes through here, as you know, is the first transcontinental highway across the United States. And in September, in fact, they've already started, there's a military convoy coming through of antique military vehicles. They started in Washington, D.C., and they're recreating the route in 1919, where Dwight Eisenhower was included in it. But they're going to be coming through Galt here in, I think, the middle part of September, or something like that. And if, I don't know if anybody's aware of it, but that's going to be happening, and I'd like to see the city.
We've had
looking
some
good for
notifications
the,
about it and in the newspaper and things.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people will be coming out for that, not to mention all these guys coming through in the vehicles.
Thank you. It's going to be exciting. All right, moving on to reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. Vice Mayor Farmer?
Just that I attended the last library commission meeting. It's a good meeting. We had some closed session stuff. It was, if you ever thought library stuff was boring, it's not that boring. Some pretty hot button topics going on. So that was interesting. But yeah, it was a good meeting and good way to, I always network with some people in other cities and then kind of chat with them about other things that they're going through in their cities. And so it's a good way to kind of pick people's brain on stuff. So yeah, it was a good meeting and fun. So that's all I have.
Councilmember Sandu?
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Lozano?
Yeah, just briefly, we had the SACOG Policy and Innovation Committee meeting yesterday, and went really well. One thing I would like to ask, the offer was made to have SACOG staff come to one of our council meetings to reach out, to tell us a little bit about SACOG and what they offer, and then maybe also at some point talk about the regional housing needs allocation that's coming down pretty quickly. The numbers have already been released from the state, and I expect that we'll have our needs allocation number here pretty quickly. So, City Manager, if we could we reach out to SACOG to the staff over there to see if we can't get them to come to one of our meetings?
Sure. General description of what SACOG does, what the agency provides for the greater Sacramento area, including Galt. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's it.
That's a great idea. Thank you, Councilmember Lozano. I'll be quick. I went to my air quality control meeting, and we had a presentation by on trees and what kind of trees produce the most oxygen. Found out the trees that produce the least oxygen are crepe myrtles. So we're looking for the oxygen trees when we plant them. And we had a safety committee meeting, and also the youth commission just elected their officers for the year, and they planned the things that are coming up for the year last night. That meeting went till 9, after 9. So that's about it. In interest of time, information consent calendar, we have 2 items pulled, so I need to get a motion for accept the minutes as submitted, adopt a resolution accepting the public, educational, and government PEG grant funding not to exceed the sum of $46,098 from the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission for infrastructure improvements to the city's cable broadcast and appropriate the project funding. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Councilmember
Second.
Lozano, seconded by Vice Mayor Farmer. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye, motion passes 4-0. Councilmember Sandu pulled item number 2, receive and file warrants.
All right, there is on page 1, maybe for Clara, the amount is 179,397. I think on page 1, California Waste Recovery System. Could you explain what was that warrant?
Yeah.
Can you repeat that, vendor?
179
It was California Waste Recovery Systems, 179,000. I believe that's going to be what we remit from collecting the residential trash rate income. So all residents are billed by the city on their utility bill, and we bill for Cal Waste and then remit that to them for residential customers only.
Okay, thank you. The next one is page number 7. I believe is 509,640. That NCCSIF.
So the NCCSIF is the Northern California Cities Self-Insurance Fund, and annually, typically in July or August, we pay or remit our payment for self-insurance through NCCSIF. NCCSIF is about 25 cities or so that pool their money under authorized statutes of the state of California to provide for various types of insurance, which can be general liability, property, workers' compensation, and the like. And this constitutes our remittance of essentially, you could think of it as a premium, if you will, for the year.
So this is a yearly basis or 6 month?
Annual.
Thank you.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. I'm getting no.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Included in that, so there's 2 payments that are lumped into that check. One is what Tom has described to you, the annual payment for liability. The other is a quarterly payment for workers' comp. And so the check's larger than you would normally see.
It is. And the reason why it's quarterly for workers' comp is that amount will fluctuate based upon the actual activity in our workers' comp program. So a injured worker, goes to the doctor, receives some sort of a treatment. The amount that we remit on a quarterly basis might be a little bit different.
So that's mean whatever the yearly report you send to them, and then that basis, that's the premium, right?
Right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, actually, since we're on the warrants, I had inquired about 2 that Claire answered. One of them was that, but she answered me back. But I just wanted to touch just briefly on this other one because it kind of, after I got the answer from you, Claire, and I appreciate that, I just kind of was like, we're in this budget thing right now. So the warrant for the Nissan of Elk Grove, the $22,999, that was for the purchase of a vehicle for the wastewater treatment plant. Correct?
Wastewater and water, yes.
Okay. So maybe Public Works, you can elaborate. I'm only bringing this up because we are in a budget and we're looking at cutting costs, and I'm seeing the purchase of a vehicle, a brand new vehicle. So I just want to know some background on that. Could you tell me is that to replace another vehicle? Was that something that was?
Yeah, I would have to check with staff. I don't have the details on that right now, Vice Mayor Farmer, but I would have to check with staff.
I'm sorry I blindsided with that.
No, it's okay.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I just thought, with all the talk about numbers and things going on right now.
And although the Public Works Director will be able to find out the details of that information, typically what occurs is that these vehicles are designed to replace an older vehicle that has reached the end of its useful life. But Mr. Selling will provide that further clarification for the council. And then these vehicles are provided for in our capital improvement plan or the budget generally. And so that's why those purchases go forward.
Right. Yeah, and I understand all that. I assumed it was going to be for the replacement of our vehicle, but again, in the midst of us chopping costs and doing things like watering less and all the kind of stuff that the community's really worked up over, I'm just sitting here thinking I'm looking at every single thing, and if I can look at a vehicle that can maybe be used 1 year longer.
And so if I could just clarify.
Sure.
These are coming from water and wastewater funds.
Fund
Those
7.
are not the funds that
Correct.
are implicated by our budget crisis. So there are no general funds being spent or Parks and Recreation funds being spent on that vehicle.
But there's still but there's still money to collect from the public, though, right?
It is still money, and it would be essentially rate money that is collected from water and wastewater customers, but both of those funds, water and wastewater, are completely
Right. I know we can't, just so the people are watching, we can't commingle those. We can't say we have an abundance or surplus of money. I won't call it surplus, but,
Right.
money sitting there that's not needed for something or whatever right now. We can't just throw that in the general fund and make up what we're trying to do. I get that. So I'm just trying to understand, the public will, I've already had someone come to me and ask, well, why is there money sitting in the, the 07? 07's a water fund, right?
Correct.
Why is there money sitting
Wastewater.
there? Why can't, I've already had that question brought to me a couple days ago. So, so I just want to bring that forward.
And just by way of further explanation, since you bring it up, it's just a further opportunity to provide a little bit of education. Remember that and I know you know this, but for the public, our general fund is money that can be spent on any lawful purpose. Water and wastewater are restricted funds. The monies that go into the restricted funds of the city can only be spent in support of either, in this case, water or wastewater. And we have many other restricted funds as well, and those restricted funds are limited to the precise purpose for which those monies are collected. And so that's why we can't just willy-nilly transfer money around from a restricted fund to the general fund, or from for that matter, from one restricted fund to the other.
Yeah, all right.
We'll get you some details, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Can-
Tom.
Can I get a motion to receive and file warrants for the period ending July 25th, 2019?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Farmer. Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Farmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Lamson?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. And Councilmember Lozano pulled the extension of Fenestra media contract.
I'm going to defer to Vice Mayor Farmer on this.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. I actually asked Rich to, in case I didn't make it in time, if he could, so thank you. This was my item. I was concerned about this. So I just wanted to get some understanding, a couple things on this. Again, because of the budget situation we're in, I'm looking at every single thing. So this is the renewal of a contract for, with the media company that has been helping us do marketing for the marketing for the market for the last 3 years, and we are looking to renew that for 3 additional years, correct, Mr. Solis?
I believe this is currently a one-year extension.
I thought it said 36 months when I read it. I'm pretty certain it did.
The initial contract is for 36 months. This is the
3 one-year extensions.
one of the 3-year extensions. This takes,
One of the 3 one-year extensions.
correct. This takes us over the $30,000 threshold, which the city manager is allowed to execute on a contract. So now that's why we're coming to you, because it takes us over that $30,000 limit.
Okay, so this item here is approving the first
year.
first 1 year of 3.
If we decide to go the second and third year, yes, it's the
Okay.
first year.
And so I was reading through the scope of work of what this people do, and there was some talk about that they come up with a strategy for marketing, and then they provide materials, and then they take direction from the market director, or in this case, I think Jackie Garcia was mentioned in there as being the point of contact. So what comes to mind is that I just want to make sure, again, because Parks and Recreation is being scrutinized very heavily right now with budget and stuff, and seems to be the main target for the cuts, and by no means don't get this as, I'm very much in favor of marketing. I think we should be even doing a better job marketing it if we had the money. So this is not my, I'm not questioning using the money in marketing. I'm just questioning, we're in declining revenue still. There seems to be a pattern of declining. So we've obviously been using this company for 3 years. So the question comes to mind for me is, do we feel like we're getting a good value for what they've been doing? Are we happy with what they've been providing for us to this point? And that's because, I mean, when I pay somebody to advertise for my business, but my business revenue is still going down, I kind of draw a correlation. Not to say that's all their fault, but I kind of start looking at that. So that's why I ask.
I'd like to bring up Jackie Garcia to discuss this, as she works directly with the Fenestra Media Company.
Thank you.
Okay. So just to, on your question, so when I came in about 1.5 years ago, Fenestra Lucy, who is the representative, her and I met and strategized on things that we need to really market that we were missing years ago. So before we were just doing the billboard, which is on 99, We were doing the Galt Herald, we were doing TV stations, but the TV stations were during the correct time. So now, within the past year, we've done local radio stations, Sacramento, San Joaquin County. We've done still the Galt Herald, different magazines, but we've also looked at doing a call out to vendors because we need new vendors. And so instead of reaching out to more customers, we're reaching out to more customers and we're reaching out to new vendors. So we're taking a whole spin of a different way, branding, giving the market a new look on our brochures, updating our website, being more user-friendly on our website. So it's been really helpful this year, and we've taken a really good approach with reaching out to new vendors and getting people interested in coming back to the market.
Okay, so this strategizing, because we're renewing, how often do you sit down and kind of say, okay, what's been working, and do we need to kind of change trajectory on what we're doing? How often do you do that?
So I probably talk to her about 4 times a month. Every time a media outlet comes out, I follow up with her to talk to her about what's the positives and negatives, what they could have done differently. The radio stations, when they come out, we have them create different types of connections to our vendors. So customers aren't just coming out for the free tickets. They're actually going to different vendors and they're getting to know who the vendors are and not just coming for the free tickets. So they're enjoying our market as a whole. So we do that now. So we have a good hand in hand with working with her.
Okay. So just one last thing, and again, I do very much support, as you know, we have had conversations, you and I have with Mr. Solis, I mean, to me, the flea market is our golden goose, and you have to spend money to make money in some cases. And I know it's difficult in the situation we're in now, but I also don't want to it's not going to be productive to start taking away money that we're using to try to generate revenue. So I know that, although I wish we could have more money to put towards resources, I know we can't do that right now. But basically what I'm looking for you guys is just from both of you is just to give me your opinion. I'm trusting you guys' conversation that this is a good value for what we're getting and for what we're paying for.
Jackie's done a great job over this last year, really taking us into a different area of our marketing. She's brought in great ideas. And basically this consultant works for us. So they have the contacts. Jackie has a lot of the ideas, and together they put, hey, this is what I'm thinking to, this is what we can do. I have faith in Jackie. I have faith in Lucy. I think that it's a good match at this point.
Okay, so I mean, as long as you guys think that the last 3 years, the relationship with this person has been good, and you feel like it's going in a positive direction, then I would support it. So, thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very good to hear about the new things, that we're not ready to give up the golden goose yet and figure out some ways to revamp. Good job, thank you. All right, can I get a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute up to 3 one-year extensions to the existing market advertising contract with Venestra Media?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano.
Before a second, just a quick question. So this will come back to us every year for further approval? Is that what I'm understanding? So is it an automatic 1 year? So
No, we're authorizing the city manager.
okay, that's what I'm clarifying. Okay. So the city manager has a little sole discretion to renew it. Is that correct? Yeah. All right, I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Vice Mayor Farmer. Roll call vote.
Vice Mayor Farmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Lamson.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. All right. And we do have to get to a closed session meeting, so if we could limit our comments by city council members, future, and, or did I forget something? Oh, I did, I forgot the treasurer's report. Sorry, Sean.
That's okay. You know, if you really want to shorten this up, I can make it real quick.
Please give us the good news. No, give us the good news.
Okay, all right. So I will make this, I'll shorten it up then. This is a time then once a year that I come before the council and before the citizens, and I report about how much interest that the city has earned over just in this last fiscal year. And I appreciate the conversation we had earlier about restricted funds, because we have 34 funds in total that collectively the city earned over $1 million. It was $1,060,000. And I looked, the last time the city has actually earned over $1 million was 10 years ago, okay? And that's just because interest rates have been, you know, if you're an investor, interest rates have been low for the last certainly 10 years. As I said, this past year, we were able to earn that. Now, again, that $1 million gets spread throughout these 34 funds. Not all of it goes to general fund, and I want to make that clear, okay?
Good point.
So.
Darn it.
Thank you. Now, as I said, in making this brief, I think that's the best news for my report today, and I ask for your approval.
Do we have questions? All right. Good job, thank you very much. Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report as submitted?
So moved.
So was that moved by Councilmember Lozano? You're on a roll. And seconded by Councilmember Campion. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Farmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu.
Aye.
Councilmember Campion. Councilmember Lozano.
Aye.
Mayor Lamson.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. No communication?
None
Do you have
tonight.
anything?
Nothing tonight.
Comments by staff? Anybody?
Well, I'll go ahead and go first. I don't want to be brief, but I did have a few items I did want to bring to
Fine.
your attention. And they will be on the city manager's update as well. After a long time, we finally got the Dutch Bros development application. So that's routing. We're hoping to bring that use permit request to Planning Commission by the end of the year. In addition to that, we did get the request, the actual application for the electronic billboard. So that is also being routed. After it goes through the process, we'll then come back to Planning Commission, City Council for review and approval. Good news, we issued our first aquatic resources permit under the South Sacramento Habitat Conservation Plan. That was for the Veranda project. And from what I understand, it's the first for the SSHCP. So that's significant that we were the first city to actually issue a permit under the HCP, and we collected mitigation fees for the project. So that was kind of exciting. And it was good to hear Councilman Lozano's comments on the RHNA allocation, or the Regional Housing Needs allocation, and it's probably a good idea that we do get some SACOG feedback on that, because I am a little bit concerned. We are getting early views of what the numbers look like, and based on the state's need to promote housing, they are pushing more housing units onto the cities and counties. So it's something to be paying attention to. We're getting preliminary numbers, and they're higher than anything we've seen in the past. So a little bit of concern there, but we are working through that with SACOG.
And if I could just interrupt for a second to put it in perspective, without getting into the whole RHNA process and what it's about, but essentially it's driving housing requirements for cities and counties. And as a region, in a 6-county region of SACOG, the SACOG staff anticipated the numbers being somewhere between 50 and 80% additional homes that were needed just in our region. That was their anticipated outlook. And so it turns out that regionally it's right around 47.5%. So it's a lot lower than anticipated. However, what it means to cities like ours is that when our number comes for increase in housing units, it's going to mean looking at our general plan to ensure that we have enough of the low and high density housing elements in our plan, and that needs to be adjusted to job availability and income and things like that. So it's a very big deal, and I think that the reason why it went up so much this time, or at least folks are talking about why it went up, is that last time 4 years ago there was a little lull in the economy, and so now they're playing a little makeup. So we will have them come out and kind of.
It's a really good point, and I think from a planning process, we are probably okay and can accommodate what they're requesting. The fear is that the governor's been threatening withholding funds for those that don't actually build. Right. And so that's something we don't have control over, and so that's a little bit frightening.
All right.
Do we have Mr. Selling?
Yeah, I made mention of this a few weeks ago when we got the initial word, but this past Friday, I went to the meeting for the Sacramento chapter of the American Public Works Association to accept recognition from them for the South Galt Safe Routes to School project. And I just wanted to recognize specifically Ms. Alejandra Ricci and Mr. Mark Clarkson, the Public Works staff, as well as probably Carlos Solario and Ms. Tyson and her staff, because this thing had an alphabet soup of funding sources on it that I think was kind of a challenge, to just make sure all the money flowed right and coordinated properly, kind of thing. So, so great recognition for the city. So, just wanted to make everyone aware of that. Thanks.
It's awesome. Fun event, Tom. Thank you. Ms. Tyson?
I just want to thank Councilmember Lozano for participating in a webinar CSMFO did on determining adequate reserves. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Narloch?
So, thank you, Mayor Lamson. We're going to be winding down the recruitment for Human Resources Director this week, and as you probably all know, shoring up for the City Manager recruitment. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Solis?
Yeah, I'd like to personally thank our department's AA, Leslie Sheets. We've submitted all 4 grant applications for Prop 68. It was quite a bit of work, and fingers crossed that we'll get some money from one of those grants. Also, just to let you know that I'm still going out on a weekly basis, monitoring the parks, the new contractor, and the irrigation. So just know that I'm on that. So we're trying to work with Crossroads at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Solis. All right, Chief Stockman.
Tonight's National Night Out is my favorite night of the year.
Yep.
And want all the public to come out and enjoy. So it's a great event, 3 different locations, Meadowview Library, and then Community Park.
I'll see you there.
Starts at 6.
It's at 6 o'clock, okay. Interim City Manager, Mr. Haglund.
Looking forward to National Night Out tonight. I'll be traveling around with the chief to those various locations. And also just a quick update for the council and community that we are continuing to meet with California Waste Recovery Systems, Cal Waste, and trying to seek out opportunities for to determine if some measure of rate relief can issue for our commercial customers. And so we continue to work with them and will continue to do so and continue to provide briefings to the council.
Thank you. Substituting Attorney, Mr. Nelson.
Just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be here in Kimberly's place. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Hope it was a wonderful experience for you. All right, anything? Okay.
Nothing.
Nothing for me? Vice Mayor Farmer?
You want to go next? You guys sing?
Yeah, I attended that Sip and Snack that was event, and this was a great community event. I also attended that safety meeting, and we did discuss a couple things. One is the visibility roundabout on the Twin City, and we discussed with the chief, and we discussed with the public work. It was then we also discussed with the 4th of July how many calls as compared to the last year, and we also discussed with the fire department as compared to the last year and 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Farmer?
All right, well, I know everybody wants to get out of here quick, but in the essence of doing my job, I had a couple things I want to bring up real quick. So one of them is, first of all, Mrs. Du Bois that spoke earlier, I want to let you know that she had mentioned things about fixed income, making decisions. And so I just want to let her know that every one of us factor in, when we make decisions, we always think about people on fixed incomes when we talk about rate increases and things. I have parents, my parents are on fixed income. So we very much consider all that every time. And then to Steve's comments, which leads into what I want to bring up is, I appreciate your comments, Mr. Solis, about working with Crossroads and continuing that. I've been getting bombarded with emails. I had like 3 of them today. I was reading them while I was sitting in the waiting room at the hospital today. And people pointing out specific areas saying that the trees are dying and that, this and that. And so I think the concern for the community has really shifted from landscaping not being done as often and mowing not being done to now watering. Watering seems to be the hot thing right now at the moment. So and I know that I communicate with city manager and Mr. Solis regularly on updates on that, and he's very good about giving me updates on where we're at and working with that. But I just want to get assurances that, when we passed this, we were told we were not going to let things die. We're not going to let trees die. Trees worry me the most because trees are not plants that can be easily replaced. Trees take years to grow. Once a tree dies, you're talking about a new tree, it could take years. So I seen the pictures, and I went out to a couple parks myself, and I've walked the grass, I've walked some things, and I'm patient, but I'm also very concerned as well that we have to make sure, because for me, if it comes to a point where we're going to just start killing stuff, we should think about, I know we're looking at our watering, and that's kind of a fluid thing where we might make adjustments and stuff, and we are doing that. But I just want assurances from our staff that came to us with a proposal to do this, and we all voted on it, that we're going to stay spot on with what that is, and that is to not be killing trees and plants, because I'm out, I'm taking the full force of this on from the citizens, and and I know all of us are. I know I've seen emails going out to all of us, so I speak on behalf of all of us to make sure that we're going to stay true to that we're not killing our landscaping, that we're just being smart with our water to maintain it. So I'm just looking for that assurances from our staff.
We are not browning out any parks. We will not brown out any parks, landscaping, streetscapes, unless you approve it. We've cut back the water 50%. As I looked into one of the issues that, because it bothered me that people were talking about Carillion Road, I went out that morning, took pictures of the wet ground, so I was confused. We still looked into it a little bit more and realized that we had shut off a backflow for some construction. That was put back on Monday. Again, I'm going around every day. If you want to send the pictures to me, my information's on the website. If anybody wants to send me an email, I'll be glad to look at everything and anything that anybody sends.
Are you aware of any trees in particular that look like there could be an issue?
I'm not, but we have hundreds and hundreds of trees. When they send me a picture of a tree and see it's dying, I have no idea where it is.
Well, the email I got this morning specifically was naming trees on Carillion, Canyon Park, Roundstone Park. It named like 8 places, so it wasn't just like, hey, there's this tree over here. And I did see some photos, so it was tough. I plan to go out and look, and I know that when you see green grass at the bottom of the tree and the trees, it could be some other issue. But again, I'm not an expert. I'm not an arborist. I don't know. I know what dead grass looks like, but when it comes to trees, I'm just looking for reassurances that we are not going to just shoot ourselves in the foot with this and incur great costs later on because of our watering. That's all I'm looking for.
I do not have the authority to brown out a park.
Yeah, and so as Armando has indicated, we have cut back, and it's going to be noticeable. Some of the plant life can go into a dormant state. It's possible. In some situations, and these are the things that we're trying to avoid, and this is why Armando is out there so much, that a small plant may be lost. We don't want that. That's why there is a continual attention to and adjustment for the watering to be able to ensure to the greatest extent possible that this isn't just a broad brush, turn off the water or cut it back so much. Presumably we don't care. We do care. We don't want to lose trees, and we don't want to lose plant life. But at the same time, we have cut back on the watering, as Armando said, about 50%. And in those areas where we feel as though there could be a problem or an actual threat to the plant life, we would modify the water schedule.
And just to answer Mr. Lysak, it's Lysak, right? His question, the watering was to get additional savings. The water wasn't just about we're going to water less so that the grass doesn't grow as fast. That was some of it, but there's a water savings cost because we do pay for water.
We do pay for
Right,
water.
right. And so, this is one of those vagaries of the law, so to speak, that we have to, even internally, we have to pay for water. And so the Parks and Rec Fund, the General Fund, the Lighting Landscape Funds all have to pay for the water that they consume. And that is to ensure that residents like Mrs. Dubois don't pay for that water themselves. And it may come from another taxed source, but this was all brought about, I believe it's case law that settled this, when the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers League sued a city over failing to pay for the water they were using in city service. Presumably, landscaping was included in that, and so there has to be a cost. It may come from your property from property taxes in the general fund. It may come from other special taxes that flow into an LLD, but all of those separate funds are a consumer of water, and they need to pay for the water just like Mrs. Dubois pays for her water.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate those answers, and I hate to keep reiterating on the subject, but it's out there, so that's why I asked. So I appreciate your answers, and if those of you that are watching out there or listening, if you do see some of concern, turn it on the Galt Connect app. They're very good about getting those out. And as a matter of fact, I turned one in myself the other day just to test to see if it was working. As a matter of fact, I did it, and literally as I'm doing it and walking away, our Parks and Rec staff, Little Armando as we call him, he pulls up in the car right behind me, and I was like, well, that was fast. He's like, oh, I came right out. So they're very, very prompt about looking at that stuff. So I'm glad that the citizens are going to help, take a look and report issues. Last little thing real quick is just regarding budget stuff. Only bring this up now because we have our next meeting's not till the budget, 27th. But it would be possible, Claire, actually I'm asking Tom. Tom, could you direct Claire, it would be possible if I could get a copy of the finances for fiscal year 18-19 in a digital form? Would that be possible for those to be provided for me from June 18 to June 19?
Are you talking about the budget or
Yes.
the actual?
The expenses and expenditures and revenues for the year.
For the budget?
Yes.
On the budget side?
Yes.
Okay.
And
because
from 18 till the one we just finished up.
We've not finished up that fiscal year.
Well, it ended June 30th, right?
Right. So we are in the process of that year-end close. That'll take a while to complete. So we don't have that available.
Okay. How long's a while?
We usually deliver an audited financial to you in January.
Okay. Well, maybe we can talk more about this outside of, would it be possible for me to get the Parks and the 06? I would like to see the 06 expenditures and revenues broken out separate, Parks and Recreation versus market, like just separated so I can see expenditures and revenues, market, revenues, expenditures, Parks and Recreation specifically. Could I get that?
Again, that's part of the year-end process, so it is not complete, but I can give you more detail from the budget perspective that you saw last week, where we did that breakout.
Okay. It's just hard to look at everything as a big picture if we're just getting presentations from staff, but we're not able to look at, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not able to see everything if we're only being shown like what you guys recommend. There might be things that we as a council might have ideas for that are not in the presentation that we're getting from you guys, so that's the only reason I ask. So
Sure, and just to remind the council, if you don't have a paper copy of the budget, I presumed everybody did. Councilmember Sandu asked me for one the other day, and so we arranged for one for him. But if council would like a paper copy of the budget, we can print one out for you. But it's also on our website, and so are the previous many fiscal years budgets are on our website on the finance page, and so those all exist out there. But again, for council, if you'd like a printed copy, sometimes it's just easier to work with that. And you don't have one already, we're happy to print one for you.
All right, I'll follow up with you guys on that. Thank you.
Okay, with that, meeting adjourned to closed session.